14.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ondo State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James and it is many thanks for joining us. Quickly look at the news making the rounds for today. NECO postpones GCE reschedules paper missed during NSAS protest. From the Central African Republic, protest against UNSC's extension of arms embargo. Biden raises election meddling with Putin in first phone call. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation bags new Telegraph's Transparency Award. Fans remember Kobe Bryant 1 year after death. Do well to stay with us as we have quite a lineup of interesting news stories and they will be made available just right after this time out. Welcome back, and now the news in details. NECO postponed GCE reschedules papers missed during NSAS. Following requests by candidates to be given more time to complete the registration process for the 2020 SSCE, the National Examination Council has fixed new dates for the examination. This was as the council promised to come out with measures that will be put in place to protect candidates and exam officials from contracting COVID-19 while sitting for the exam. In a statement by Head Information and Public Relations Division of the Board, Aziz Sani, indicated that the examination, which was earlier scheduled to commence on Monday, February 1st, 2021 and end on Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021, will now start on Monday, February 8th, 2021 and end on Wednesday, March 8th, 2021. The council also informed candidates who missed some papers during the 2020 SSCE due to the NSAS protests in some states to take note of the new dates and report for the examination accordingly at their various examination centers to be designated. Sani also explained that the council was aware of the COVID-19 pandemic and would soon roll out guidelines to ensure everybody at the examination venues was protected. And now moving forward, Buhari admits COVID-19 exposed Nigeria's technology deficit. President Muhammadu Buhari says the COVID-19 pandemic exposed the technology and innovation gap between Nigeria and the developed world. He, however, pointed the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure was strategically positioned to fill the gap. According to a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, titled President Buhari directs NASENI to bridge gaps in COVID-19 research technology, speaking at a meeting with the board of NASENI at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The presidential notes the countries that are in the forefront of economic recovery have only one thing in common: investment and sustained research and development work in knowledge economy. COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the technology and innovation gap between the nation and the developed world, which NASENI is strategically positioned to fill. However, in order to realize its full potential, NASENI must be empowered through the provision of adequate financial, human and material resources and be given the autonomy and independence to forge international partnerships to acquire the relevant technologies for social, economic and industrial advancement of the country. In another development, herdsmen have no alternative, must register, says Ondo. Following the agreement reached by the Nigerian Governors Forum, the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, and other stakeholders on vacation order issued to the herdsmen to leave the forest reserves in Ondo State, the government says the herders have been moving out of the forest. The governors and the MAC band in the communique issued after their meeting agrees to support the Governor Rotimi Akeredolu's order on ban on night grazing, underage grazing, movement of cattle along the highway and within the cities, and herdsmen moving out of the forest reserves. Speaking on the development, the special advisor to the governor on security matters, Alhaji Jimo Dojumo, says the herdsmen have been moving out of the forest reserves in compliance with the order of the governor. Nothing, the government was waiting for the herdsmen to register, urging that many herders had indicated interest in the exercise. Says they have just started, the herders don't want any alternative but to register, and anyone who fails to register will not be allowed to operate in the state. The registration has to be total. In the most recent development, Nigeria's President Buhari appoints new military chiefs. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari replaces the country's military chiefs with new appointees. Presidential spokesman Femi Adesina announced the appointment in a statement. The president congratulates the new service chiefs and urges them to be loyal and dedicated in the discharge of their responsibilities. General Liu Irabo is the new chief of the defense staff. General I. Atahiru has been appointed as the chief of army staff, and Air Vice Marshal Amao has become the Chief of Air Staff, while Rear Admiral A.Z. Gambo is the Chief of Naval Staff. There have been calls for months for a change in military leadership following increasing terror attacks in the northeast region of Nigeria. Now looking at news stories coming from around Africa. From the Central African Republic, protests against the UNSC's extension of the arms embargo. The Central African population denounces and rejects the decision of the United Nations Security Council to extend the embargo on arms to the armed forces of the Democratic Republic of Congo, an issue at the heart of several demonstrations in the past few days in Bangui City, with several men, women and children taking to the streets in protest of this decision. For Central Africans, this march is also about supporting state institutions and above all denouncing what they consider to be an international conspiracy to destabilize their country. Indignance is what the Central African population, mostly youth, express at the marches roundabout as they say no to the extension of the duration of the embargo, a decision taken by the UN Security Council. Among them were students, young people and even very small children who also walked to say no. They therefore decided to stay in the streets and protest until the Security Council lifts this decision and the FACA can finally acquire adequate weapons to fight the rebels to save the Central African Republic and protect the Central African people. The locals are collectively raising their voices as an initiative of the citizens' movement for the awakening of consciousness in the country. And still from around Africa, the junta that ousted IBK from power in Mali has been dissolved. The junta in Mali, which ousted ex-president Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta from power last year following weeks of protest, is no more. As per a decree dated January 18 and obtained from a military official from sources of the ground, the National Committee for the Salvation of the People is dissolved. This comes 5 months after the military coup staged on August 18 and in response to the call on January 12 by the 15-member Economic Community of West African States, which has mediated Mali's political strife, to disband the junta. A call heard by Mali's interim government that sees coup leader Colonel Assimi Goïta as its vice president and which is scheduled to rule for 18 months before staging general elections. Right now we're taking a break, and when we return we shall be getting updates from the United States. Do well to stay with us.
enter his presence and be overwhelmed. A command that triggers expectation.
She was pregnant for 8 years. She ran with a word, a prophetic declaration as Mama declared, and today the baby is here. This is one of the many things the Lord can do. Look at the baby that was held in the womb for 8 years, connecting to this grace. She's standing here with her evidence.
Bringing souls to the kingdom. Get ready for generational impact with Dr. Lizzie Johnson Suleiman.
Power of God! Power of God! Latakata rapata!
At Ibienafe Secondary School Field, South Ibie, Ondo State, Nigeria. Date 28 January 2021 at 4 p.m. GMT+1. For inquiries, please call +234 806 464 6180. You are next in line.
Welcome back. And in the United States, Biden raises election meddling with Putin in first phone call. U.S. President Joe Biden warns Russian leader Vladimir Putin about election meddling in their first call as counterparts, the White House says. The conversation included a discussion about the ongoing opposition protests in Russia and an extension of the last remaining U.S.-Russia nuclear arms pact. Mr. Putin congratulated the new U.S. president on winning the election, according to a Russian statement. Both parties say they agree to maintain contact moving forward. Former U.S. President Donald Trump sometimes undercut his own administration's tough posture on Russia and was accused of being too deferential to Mr. Putin. But former President Barack Obama, under whom Mr. Biden served as vice president, was also criticized for failing to check the Kremlin as it annexed Crimea, invaded eastern Ukraine, and muscled in on Syria. Looking at more updates from Europe, still on coronavirus, AstraZeneca defends EU vaccine rollout plan. The head of AstraZeneca defends its rollout of the coronavirus vaccine in the EU amid tension with member states over delays in supply. Pascal Surier tells Italian newspaper La Repubblica that his team was working 24/7 to fix the very many issues of production of the vaccine. Says production was basically 2 months behind where they wanted it to be. Also, the EU's late decision to sign contracts had given limited time to sort out hiccups with supply. Mr. Surier, chief executive of the UK-Swedish multinational, says a contract with the UK had been signed 3 months before the one with the EU, giving more time for glitches to be ironed out. And now moving to business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation bags New Telegraph Transparency Award. We'll bring you the details in this video footage. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation bags New Telegraph's Transparency Award. One of Nigeria's national dailies, New Telegraph newspaper, has conferred its 2020 Award of Government Agency of the Year in the area of transparency to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. The award was received by the Group Managing Director, NNPC, Milan on behalf of the corporation from the New Telegraph's Managing Director and Editor-in-Chief, Mr. Ayodele Aminu, at the NNPC tours in Abuja. While presenting the award, Mr. Ayodele Aminu said, before now the accounts of NNPC had been shrouded in secrecy. Shortly after receiving the award, ENQUIRY thanked the board and management of New Telegraph for the honor, saying that the award was for the entire NNPC staff who have been relentless in ensuring that the corporation remains on the path of transparency and accountability. He said, as an enabler organization for the Nigerian economy, NNPC Group has since realized the truism that it pays to be transparent and accountable at all times, and has since resolved to continue to entrench transparency and accountability in all its operations. ENQUIRY acknowledged that this award comes with a huge responsibility, and more than ever before, they remain focused and committed in their collective resolve to take the transparency drive in the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation to new and enviable heights. Still on business, NPC retains MPR at 11.5% in first 2021 meeting. The Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) held its 27th Monetary Policy Committee meeting, the first in 2021, where members voted unanimously to retain a monetary policy rate at 11.5%. Mr. Godwin Emefiele, governor of the CBN, disclosed this while reading the communique from the meeting. Emefiele said the NPC also agrees to retain cash reserve ratio at 27.50%, liquidity ratio at 30%, and the asymmetric window at plus 100 and minus 700 basis points around the MPR. The News Agency of Nigeria recalls that all prevailing rates were equally agreed on during the last NPC meeting on November 24, 2020. The Central Bank of Nigeria governor says the committee was confronted with policy choices either to aggressively reverse inflationary pressure in the country or support measures aimed at enhancing growth and reversing the current economic recession. Emefiele added that the committee encouraged the federal government not to consider another wholesale lockdown of the economy so as not to reverse the gains of the various economic stimulus packages provided in 2020. Coming up right next after this break is news stories from the world of sports. We'll be right back.
Enter his presence and be overwhelmed. A command that triggers expectation.
She was pregnant for 8 years. She ran with a word, a prophetic declaration as Mama declared, and today the baby is here. This is one of the many things the Lord can do. Look at the baby that was held in the womb for 8 years, connecting to this grace. She's standing here with her evidence.
Bringing souls to the kingdom. Get ready for generational impact with Dr. Lizzie Johnson Suleiman.
Power of God! Power of God! Latakata rapata!
At Ibianafe Secondary School Field, South Ibie, Ondo State, Nigeria. Date 28 January 2021 at 4 p.m. GMT+1. For inquiries, please call +234 806 464 6180. You are next in line.
Welcome back. And now it's news stories from the world of sports. Fans remember Kobe Bryant 1 year after death. Basketball fans gathered across Los Angeles to remember Kobe Bryant 1 year to the day after the former NBA superstar perished in a helicopter crash with daughter Jana and 7 others. Fans laid flowers at Los Angeles Lakers memorabilia at the makeshift memorial outside the Staples Center, the arena where Bryant became a city icon during a 2-decade playing career. Bryant, 41, his daughter and fellow passengers died on January 26 last year when the helicopter they were traveling in slammed into a hillside in Calabasas in foggy conditions. Other Los Angeles sporting franchises also paid tribute. The Los Angeles Dodgers baseball team posted a photo of the pitching mound at Dodger Stadium emblazoned with Bryant's 24 jersey number in Lakers colors. And in another sports news, Milan derby, Ibrahimovic Lukaku fight as Inter reach Italian Cup semis. Christian Eriksen scores a last gasp winner as Inter Milan advances to the Italian Cup semi-finals with a 2-1 victory over 10-man AC Milan in a fiery derby clash. The match at the San Siro was overshadowed by a clash between star strikers Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Romelu Lukaku, who both scored on the 9th, with the Swede later sent off in the second half. Ibrahimovic broke through on the half hour after connecting with Soliho Metate's headed cross firing in low from the right, with the ball bouncing in off the far post. But former Manchester United teammates Ibrahimovic and Lukaku angrily clashed before the halftime whistle. Ibrahimovic taunted Lukaku and infuriated the Belgian by laughing in his face, with the pair going head-to-head. The duo traded insults heading towards the tunnel, with a furious Lukaku being restrained by his teammates. Both players were booked over the incident. And that's the size of the news for today from Newsdesk or in Celebration TV. But in case you missed out, here is a recap of the headlines. NECO postpones GCE reschedules papers missed during NSAS protest. From the Central African Republic, protests against the UNSC's extension of the arms embargo. Biden raises election meddling with Putin in first phone call. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation bags new Telegraph Transparency Award. Fans remember Kobe Bryant 1 year after death. And now to the photo of the day. Now in this picture, we could see a man with a very large stone on his head, which means the weight definitely must be much, but then he is focused towards attaining something, and that is why he is willing to take the difficult route to achieve it. So what would you do in difficult situations? Will you do same by carrying the big rock to scale through? Tell us. We would love to know. So would you take the hard way, or would you love to do it the easy way? Reach out to us via our social media platforms and give us your feedback on Facebook, Celebration TV, on Instagram, My Celebration TV, on Twitter, @MyCelebrationTV, and on YouTube, Celebration TV. Your positive contribution to the wellness of the society you find yourself in, or the organization you work in, defines your leadership might. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed, has backed his way to success. So be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. So be a part of nation building today. I am Comfort James, and it is. Thanks for watching.
To 15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ondo State Governor, Ibikule Amoso,